Good morning, student. Yes, so children, in the previous period of SST, we have started the fourth number lesson, that is Himalayan mountains or northern mountains and northern plains, right? So in that, children, we saw first that northern mountains. In that, the main point is the Himalayan mountains. Again, in the Himalayan mountains, we saw the three parallel ranges of Himalayas. They are the Himadri, Himachal and Shivalik Himalayas. These are the names of three parallel ranges of Himalayas. They are also known as the Great Himalayas, again Middle Himalayas and the Outer or Lower Himalayas, right? Yes, children. After that, we saw the importance of Himalayan mountains. Why it is so important for the India, for our country. Okay. And after that, we have seen that the life from the Himalayan mountain ranges, how the people they are living, how they survive, how they struggle with the climatic conditions and all. Isn't it? Yes. So, children, after that, I gave you this as the homework, right? So in that, three questions are given and we have to find out the reasons for the following. Yes, so first we'll see the reasons about it and then we will continue with the northern plains, right? Okay, so what is the first one, children? The Himalayan region is full of conical shaped trees like pine, spruce and fir. Do you know ice cream cone or joker caps hold like this and then it will be a conical shape. So the trees from the Himalayan mountains, they all are in this conical shape. So why the trees are like this in the Himalayan region? We'll see the answer. See here. The Himalayan region is full of conical shaped trees because trees have adapted to cold weather conditions of the mountain. The cone shape keeps them from falling over the winter from too much snow collecting on them. During winters, snow accumulates on branches and leaves or needles. The conical shape of conifers prevents accumulation of large amount of snow on the tree. The conical shape of the trees also help to get the snow from fall off the tree quickly. Okay, children, this is the main reason. What is that? Because of this conical shape, because of this slope, it will be easy. Because Himalayan mountains, it means it is the coldest place, right? So there is a heavy snowfall during the winter season. So children, it is means that snow falls easily down from the tree. For that, the shape of the tree is in conical shape, just like cone shape. Understood? Yes. Second is mountaineers carry oxygen cylinder while climbing high mountains. See children, here, there is a less oxygen at higher places like mountains, so they carry oxygen cylinder with them to breathe there. Children, we know this thing, as we go at the higher altitude, isn't it? The temperature decreases. So the oxygen level also decreases. So the mountaineers, for them, it will be easy to breathe if they carry the oxygen cylinder with them. So that suppose the oxygen is very less there, then they can use their oxygen cylinder. So it will be easy for them to breathe in the highest mountains also. Third is Himalayan rivers are perennial in nature. Children, what is meant by perennial? Perennial means the river, those who have full year water. Those who carry water for the full year. See here. The Himalayan rivers are perennial because they are fed by rainfall as well as by melting snow from the Himalayas. Yes, children. So these are known as the perennial rivers. Why? First point is they fed by the rainfall. Children, in mountainous regions, most of the time there is a heavy rainfall. So because of that rivers they get water from the rainfall. And second thing is that melting of the snow from the Himalayas due to sun's heat. Due to hot sun, the snow, whatever is there in the Himalayas, it melts. And because of that also, the river gets water. That is why throughout the year, the rivers which are from the Himalayan mountain ranges, they are known as perennial rivers. Understood, children? Till here, everyone? So children, these are the reasons for the question which I asked you as the homework. So today, children, we are going to continue with the northern plains. Before that, we saw the northern mountains, right? So shall we continue? Yes, children. Children, first of all, tell me, do you know what is meant by plane? Plane means not that aeroplane. See here, plains, P-L-A-I-N-S, plains. Children, plains are large stretches of flat land. In short, children, plains means a plain land, flat land. No ups and downs are there. Okay, so this is the main thing about the plains. Such areas of land are usually fertile and have a climate suitable for agriculture. Children, these are the flat land which is very fertile and which is the suitable for the agriculture. Even the climatic conditions also from this region is very suitable for the agriculture. They are suitable for large scale farming. Large scale means big farm. It is easy to construct buildings on plains. Yes, children, naturally, because it is the flat land, it means we can get the plain surface, no, to construct the building. Yes, so flat surface, plain surface, it is easy to construct anything on that. So the plains are the area where this area is suitable for the agriculture also and to construct the building also. It means, in short, this area is suitable for the human beings, for the living things also. Most industries develop along the banks of river because of easy availability of the water. Yes, children, water is very important for us. So the most of the industries are developed along the banks of the river. Why? Because they can get the water easily. People prefer to settle down in the plains because of these reasons. Climatic conditions are suitable, flat land, so that they can easily construct the buildings. Again, rivers are there, so the water will be available easily for us. So we human beings, we usually prefer to settle down for this region, isn't it? Plain region. As a result of all this, plains are generally well populated and grow into cities. Yes, children. As compared to mountain ranges or mountain region, the plain regions, flat land is more populated because of these reasons. Three main reasons are there, children. Climatic conditions are suitable, easily we can construct the building, and availability of water. Yes. Continue. The northern or Indo-Gangetic plains are among the largest and the most fertile plains in the world. Now children, as we saw in the mountain regions, this is a great Himalayas, which is the big mountain range. But in that also there are three parallel ranges of the mountain range of the Himalayan mountain. So same like that, a northern plains. See here, you can see on this map, no, that green color belt. This is the plain region. So that region also divided. So the first one is the northern or Indo-Gangetic plains are amongst the largest and most fertile plains in the world. Which one, children? Northern, or we can call it as Indo-Gangetic plains. They are located to the south of the Himalayan range. Where is the location? Towards the south side of the Himalayan range. They cover the greater part of North India and are hence known as the Northern Plains. Why they are called as Northern Plains, children? Because they cover the most of the part of the North India. Right? They covers the most of the part which is at the north side of the India. That is why they are known as the Northern Plains. Now children, see their exact location, see their expand. These plains extend 3,200 km across east to west and 240 to 320 km wide, spanning from Punjab in the west to parts of Assam in the east. Understood their exact location? Yes. Covering states like Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal and Delhi. Throughout their expanse, they remain a broad, flat and level region. If you have your map booklet, then you can refer the map which shows the northern plains of India in that map. Just a minute, I will see if it is there. See here, on the map booklet, page number 3, it is clearly shown. Physical map of India showing the northern plains. See, one more time. These plains extend 3,200 km across the east to west and 240 to 320 km spanning from Punjab in the west to parts of the Assam in the east. See, here in the green belt you can see everything. And again, they covering the states like Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal and Delhi. Yes children, so till here I think you all have understood, right? Okay. Now, these plains are extremely fertile because of two reasons. Now children, as we know, because the land in this plain region which is very flat and which is useful for the agriculture, suitable for the agriculture and constructing the building, it means totally it is suitable for the human beings to survive in this region. Okay, so we'll see that regions. They are very well drained due to perennial rivers originating in the Himalayas flowing through them. To the rivers bring along with them pieces of rock, sand and silt. The finer silt which deposited by the rivers forms a highly fertile alluvium. So the children, main thing is the perennial rivers. Right? What the rivers do? They are well drained due to perennial rivers which are originating from the Himalayas. Now we know perennial rivers means they have the water throughout the year because of the heavy rainfall, and second thing because of melting of the snow. And while these rivers bring along with them the pieces of rock, sand and silt. The fine silt, when deposited by the rivers, forms a highly fertile alluvium. Now children, what is meant by alluvium? Alluvium means sand deposited by rivers and the floods. Okay, when there is a heavy rainfall and rivers are flowing with very high speed with lots of water and flood. Do you know na flood? Especially in the in the rainy season, we can get to know about the flood. What is this and all? So the sand deposited by the rivers by the floods. That particular area is known as alluvium, which is very fertile for the agriculture. So see children, the fertile plains make agriculture profitable. So there are three large river basins that from the northern plains. Now children, what is meant by basins? See here it is given. Basins means large low-lying area watered by a river and its tributaries. Tributaries means another river which connects to the main river, which join to the main river. Okay, so there are three larger river basins that from the northern plains. First one is the Ganga basin in the center, the Satluj basin in the west, the Brahmaputra basin in the east. These rivers cover a large area and form a network throughout the plains. So children, in this way have you understood what is meant by basin? Basin means large low area covered by a river and its tributaries, which is very fertile for the agriculture. Okay. Now we'll see the deep information about these three river basins. So the first one is Ganga basin. Okay. Ganga is we can say it's a holy river for us in India, or we can say it as a main river. See here. Now first of all children, these are the Himalayan rivers. Okay, so from where they originate, we'll see. The Ganga originates from the Gangotri glacier in the Himalayas. Now do you know what is meant by glacier? It's a large mass of ice which floats slowly, isn't it? So the Ganga originates from the Gangotri glacier in the Himalayas. Children, do you know these four pilgrimage holy places, we can say Gangotri, Yamunotri, Kedarnath and Badrinath. So from that, Gangotri is a holy place from where the Ganga originates in the Himalayas. It flows throughout the states of Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal. See, starting from the Gangotri glacier, it flows through which state? Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal, right? Then Yamuna is its main tributary. River Ganga meets river Yamuna at Allahabad. The meeting point is known as the Sangam. Okay, from Gangotri glacier that Ganga river originates and it flows through Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal, and the Yamuna river is the main tributary. So the river Ganga and river Yamuna, they both meet each other at the place Allahabad. So the meeting point of the two rivers is known as Sangam. Understood till here? See. Then rainfall is received during monsoon, and eastern part of the plain receives more rainfall than the western part. Yes children, in the rainy season heavy rainfall is there. So from that period, rainfall is received during monsoon and eastern part of the plain receives more rain. East and west part. So the eastern part receives more rain compared to western part. Along with the river Brahmaputra, the Ganga forms a world's largest delta known as Ganga Brahmaputra Delta. Now children, do you know what is meant by delta? Yes. It is a triangular shaped region which formed by two rivers. That is known as delta. You can see in the textbook also the picture is given, delta. A river and its delta. Triangular shaped region which is formed by the river. So children, at Allahabad, Ganga river and Yamuna river meets each other, and then the river Brahmaputra and Ganga, both the rivers forms the world's largest delta known as Ganga Brahmaputra Delta. After this, the river splits into many small rivers before entering the Bay of Bengal at its mouth. Okay, understood children? See, the river Brahmaputra and river Ganga both together forms a delta region. So after delta region, these rivers splits, means divides into many small rivers. Ganga, Brahmaputra, these are the main rivers. But after forming this delta region, they splits into many small rivers, and with that small rivers, they entering the Bay of Bengal. Bay of Bengal, it is the ocean, it is the sea. Hai, means originating from the Himalayas, they move towards the south direction and then they meets to the Bay of Bengal. But before meeting to the Bay of Bengal, after the delta region, they both get split into small rivers. Children, when now these rivers meet to the Bay of Bengal, so at its mouth lies the dense Sundarban forest, which is the natural habitat of the famous Royal Bengal tiger. So the children, Ganga, Brahmaputra, these river meets to the Bay of Bengal. So where they are meeting to the sea, Bay of Bengal, there they form a dense Sundarban forest. There is a forest, and which is a natural habitat of our national animal Royal Bengal tiger. If you want to see the Royal Bengal tigers, you can visit the Sundarban forest. Got it? But where it is, that Sundarban forest, very dense it is. When these river meets to the Bay of Bengal, that area, there is the dense Sundarban forest, which is the natural habitat of the famous Royal Bengal tiger. Children, till here understood everyone? So we first saw the Ganga basin, which originates from the Gangotri glacier at the Himalayas. Then the Yamuna is the main tributary of Ganga. River Yamuna and river Ganga, they both meet at Allahabad. The meeting point of the two rivers is known as Sangam. After that, Brahmaputra and Ganga, these two rivers form the world's largest delta. They are known as Ganga-Brahmaputra delta. And after the delta region, the river splits into many small rivers before meeting to the Bay of Bengal. And at its mouth, there is a dense Sundarban forest, which is the natural habitat of the Royal Bengal tiger. Understood till here? Yes. See here in the map, you can see about this, the Ganga basin. How it flows and where is the delta region, everything. See, this type of region is known as delta. It is a triangular shaped region. The Ganga basin produces more food than any other part of the country. Yes, children, it is very natural because there is this Ganga river or Ganga basin is having very fertile land. So it produces more food than any other part of the country. Healthy yields means to supply, of rice, wheat, jute and sugar cane are produced here. So what are the crops in the Ganga basin? Rice, wheat, jute and sugar cane. After that, fishing, navigation, hydroelectricity generation and industries like cotton, textile and sugar mills are supported by the river. So with the agriculture, with the crops, these occupations also developed in this Ganga basin. What are the occupations? Fishing, navigation, hydroelectricity generation and most of the industries of cotton, textiles and sugar mill. Some of the oldest and most densely populated cities in the world like Delhi, Agra, Allahabad, Varanasi and Patna are situated here which provide employment opportunities. See children, because of this all the reasons, the plain areas are well populated compared to mountain areas. easily availability of water. Because of the flat land we can easily construct the building, and the flat land which is very suitable for the agriculture also. And again the rivers which are originating from Himalayan mountain ranges, they are the perennial rivers and they go through this plain regions, है ना? And there they form a delta region, then alluvial, है ना? These all the things which are very suitable for the agriculture, for the farming. And because of this, on the banks of this river, the big cities are there, just like Delhi, Agra, Allahabad, Varanasi and Patna. They are very well populated and they provide employment opportunities. In short, suitable climatic conditions, suitable climatic environment for the human beings. So because of this, the Ganga basin is the main basin and very well populated. Okay children, till here everyone understood? Which river meets to the Ganga, where they form the delta region, where is the dense Sundarban forest. The dense Sundarban forest is the natural habitat for which animal. After that, what are the crops which are grown in the Ganga basin? Again with this crop, what are the occupations developed there? Okay, so this is all about the Ganga basin. Some of the oldest and most densely populated cities in the world like Delhi, Agra, Allahabad, Varanasi and Patna are situated here, which provide employment opportunities. Opportunities to the people living here. A good network of roads and railways are also being built in these areas. The food plains are extensively used for rice, tea and jute farming. Okay, children, with this means easily availability of water, fertile land, plain land, easy construction of buildings. With this, the road connectivity for transportation is also built in this area. So the food plains are extensively used for rice, tea and jute farming. So on this plain region, mainly which crops are grown? Rice, tea and jute farming. In Assam, the floodplains form thick marshes where mining of petroleum is done. These marshes are also famous for their one-horned rhinos. Floodplains means in that area most of the time flood is there. So in this area, marshes, in this area mining of petroleum is also done. Mining, deep digging inside the ground, and there you will get the petroleum. So this is done in this area, and these marshes are also famous for their one-horned rhinoceros. In the picture you can see that animal, one horn, which is having only one horn. Kaziranga National Park, Assam. Okay children, so till here everyone understood? So this is all about the Ganga river basin. Or the next is Brahmaputra basin. The next is Brahmaputra. See here, in the picture you can see the Brahmaputra river and its basin. Now we'll see. The Brahmaputra originates in Tibet. It is known as Tsangpo there. है ना? Just like Ganga, it originates in the Himalayas, Gangotri glacier. Same like that, the Brahmaputra originates in Tibet. And there in Tibet, what is the another name for Brahmaputra? It is Tsangpo. Okay. Then it enters India in Arunachal Pradesh and flows through Assam. So at what place it enters in India, my dear children? It enters in India in Arunachal Pradesh and flows through Assam. Gradually it flows southwards and enters Bangladesh. Children, you have that map, so you can observe it very carefully. Where is the Tibet, from where it originates, and then at what place it enters in India, and at southern direction it enters in Bangladesh. Before it empties into the Bay of Bengal, it joins the Ganga to form Ganga-Brahmaputra Delta. This region receives heavy rainfall, and the fertile soil produces as a result of flooding is excellent for crops like rice and jute. We saw in the Ganga basin also, before entering Ganga, Brahmaputra, this both the rivers meets to the Bay of Bengal. But before entering in the Bay of Bengal, that Brahmaputra river meets to the Ganga, and there they form a delta region, which is very fertile region for the crops like rice and jute. Why it is very fertile region? Because of the heavy rainfall, it produces fertile soil. And most of the time this part is flooding. So because of this flood, it produces excellent crops like rice and jute. Okay, understood? See here in the picture, a river and its tributaries. So till here everyone understood? First we saw the northern plains. In that we saw the Ganga basin. Then the next is the Brahmaputra basin. Till here everyone understood? Yes, children. Now we'll continue with the Satluj basin. Yes, Satluj is the name of the river. Here in the picture you can see the river and the basin. Now children, Ganga originates in Himalayas, Gangotri glacier. That Brahmaputra originates in Tibet. Like that, the Satluj river originates in also Tibet and enters India through the Sipkila Pass in Himachal Pradesh. Isn't it? It means the Brahmaputra and Satluj, these two rivers originates in Tibet and they enters in India. Brahmaputra enters at Arunachal Pradesh, and this Satluj river enters Sipkila Pass in Himachal Pradesh. Okay. Now children, Bias is the main tributary of Satluj. Just like Ganga is the main river, Yamuna is the main tributary of Ganga. Like that, the Bias is also the main tributary of Satluj. Now children, in India, the Satluj basin mainly includes the states of Punjab and Haryana. Okay, so where is the Satluj basin is there? Mainly includes the state of Punjab and Haryana. The Bhakra Nangal dam built on this river is used to provide electricity and water for irrigation. Bhakra Nangal dam is a big project which is built on this river, which is used to provide electricity and water for the irrigation. The main crops produces include wheat, rice, cotton and sugarcane. Because in this Satluj basin, what are the main crops are produces? Wheat, rice, cotton and sugarcane. The river is also harnessed at the Bhakra Nangal dam to produce electricity. Amritsar, Jalandhar, Patiala and Ludhiana are some of the important towns situated along its course. These are the main cities along its bank of the Satluj basin. Okay children, so have you understood the lesson? Two parts are there, main two parts are there in this lesson. They are the northern mountains and northern plains. In the northern mountains we saw Himalayan mountain ranges, 3 parallel ranges of the Himalayas. Then we saw the importance of the Himalayas. Then we saw the life into the Himalayan mountain ranges. Okay. Again with that, then the next point is the northern plains. Plain means flat area, flat land, which is very suitable for the construction of building, for the agriculture and the climate of this plain region is also suitable for everything. So that is why the plain area is very well populated as compared to the mountainous regions. Okay, so in that northern plain we saw the Ganga basin, Brahmaputra basin and the Satluj basin, right? Then we saw where these three rivers, from where it originates, what are the main rivers of it, when it enters in India, where they form the delta region, where they form the alluvial, why the soil is so fertile, which is formed by these three rivers, right? What is the project built on these three rivers? What are the states they passes through? And at the end, Ganga Brahmaputra river meets to the Bay of Bengal. Understood, children? Yes, very good. If you have any doubt, any queries, you can ask me through the mail. My mail ID is ivbct@pratibhaindschool.org. The northern mountains and the northern plains are two important physical features making the northern part of India. They help us in different ways. Because of these two areas, the northern area is very well populated. Okay. So in this way, children, in this lesson we have learnt there are three parallel mountain ranges in the Himalayas. They are the Greater Himalayas or Himadri, Lesser Himalayas or Himachal, and Outer Himalayas or Shivaliks. The northern plains are the fertile land areas located to the south of the Himalayas. Children, south of the Himalayas, not south of the India, south of the Himalayas. The Ganga, the Brahmaputra and the Satluj are the most important rivers that drain the northern plains. Okay, these are the main points which we have learnt in this lesson. Words. Now here, children, range. Range means a series of mountains continuously. Okay, that is called range. Alluvium means sand deposited by rivers and floods. Tributary means a smaller river that joins a large one. For example, Ganga and Yamuna. So Yamuna is the main tributary of the river Ganga and they both meet at Allahabad. Then distributary means a smaller river that splits from a large one. Tributary means which joins to the main river, and distributary means which easily spreads from the large one. Floodplains. What is meant by floodplains? An area of a flat land near a river that is often flooded because of the overflowing river. Most of the time that floodplains, that area is covered by the flood only. That is why that particular area is known as floodplains. Okay, children, have you understood till here? Very good. Then this is the homework. See here. Activity 2, which is given on the page number 27 and 28. See, identify the famous town cities situated at the banks of the rivers flowing through northern plains of India with the help of the clues given. Now children, here is the information given. You have to read that and then you have to find out the city which along with the banks of the rivers. Clues are given. So in the next period, we'll cross check the answers. Right? And one more thing about the notes and exercise. I have already sent to you through the Prism. So you can read that, or if you want you can write that. Write in the notebook with neat and clean, proper handwriting. Right? Yes, children. Read the lesson carefully. Ask me whatever the doubts so that I can clear your doubts. Yes, till then, take care, stay home, stay safe. Thank you and bye. Have a good day.